Scars. Sid had a lot of scars, Shara noticed one night. It was late, but she was having a hard time falling asleep. She was curled next to Sid, and usually the quiet noises in the night and his breathing would lull her to sleep. That night, however, her mind wouldn't rest. Not wanting to wake him, she tried to occupy her busy mind by taking a look at his scars. She'd always known they were there, but she never really got a good look at them, not close enough to count them or wonder exactly who or what put them on there. As she gently pushed away the sheet covering Sid's bare chest in ways, she noticed that the origins of some scars were obvious. The small circular ones were from gunshots, while the long thin ones were from swords or other sharp weapons. Others were more jagged and had similar ones running right next to him. Claw marks, no doubt. One scar in particular was funny. It was a healed slash that ran across his butt. Every time Shara looked at it, she had to suppress her laughter. She recalled the time when one of the machines in Sid's garage had gone haywire. Parts began popping out, and at one point a small conveyor belt that ran through the machine snapped loose, and like a snake out of hell, lashed out and consequently whipped Sid's rear. Patching up that wound had been interesting. She was sure Sid wouldn't be able to recall how he received every single scar, but there was one that always bothered her, and she was sure he would know how it got there. It was a long, wicked-looking scar she traced with her finger, starting from the left shoulder and began running down his arm. She figured his arm must have been pressed against the sock when he sustained the injury, because the scar left his arm and continued down his side until it reached his waist. Seeing it always made her stomach curl. Suddenly, Sid stirred and opened an eye. "Shara? The hell you still awake for?" he murmured. He sounded annoyed, but Shara knew he was more curious and concerned than annoyed. She shook her head. "Can't sleep. Sorry if I woke you." He shifted on the bed, rolling from his stomach onto his side, and tucked Shara beneath his chin as his arm drew her close. "What were you looking at?" Shara hesitated, wondering if she would ask. They had never brought up the subject of his scars. It could be a touchy subject for him, and it was a scary one for her. She got no pleasure in hearing about her husband's past injuries and battles. Sid would know if she was trying to avoid something. Oh, so she relented. "I was just looking at this scar you have here." She traced it again, letting him know which one she was referring to. "You've got a lot of scars, although I've never really looked at them, but this one has to be the biggest you have." He sighed and glanced down at it, frowning heavily. Sephiroth. She winced. "No wonder I always get such a bad vibe from this scar. No wonder it's so big. Now that I think about it, after you came back, you were favoring your other arm over this one for a while. I hadn't realized you'd been injured so badly." She was sure the subject would end there, but Sid suddenly looked thoughtful. Green eyes met hers, and he pushed a stray hair of hers away from her face. "You know what I never noticed?" Her curiosity piqued. Shara tilted her head. "What?" "You never really asked about him." "Hell, I've gotten a shitload over the years, but you never bugged me about him." In a rare open moment of affection, Sid leaned his forehead against hers. "Never bitched about him or about having to patch him up either. Just another thing about you have to take him for granted." Shara smiled. "Of course not. When I married you, I knew that there would be days when you might come home beat up or torn up a little. You're a fighter, and that's something I have to accept. There are plenty of things about me you've had and will continue to put up with too." She rubbed her thumb over a part of the scar on his shoulder. "I realize it doesn't matter that if you come home scarred and bloody, because what matters is that you came home, period." She looked up at him and grinned. "I'll fix up any wound you get as long as you come home alive. I never minded doing it, and I never will." Sid smiled, and his mouth kept contorting into different lines. She knew he was trying not to laugh, but his eyes said it all. "Seriously, people wonder why I married you." Shara laughed, muffling it against his chest. As she leaned her head back, she unexpectedly noticed a much smaller scar that ran over his collarbones. He wasn't always the most perceptive of men, but her husband had his moments. "Want me to tell you about some of them?" She hesitated again, but spoke with much less reluctance than before. "A couple of them have me curious. If I hadn't been there, I would ask about the one on your ass. She snorted as she saw the deadpan look on his face. Especially the one that's down near your... Sid I supplied. That one? He nodded down at it. She nodded. Yeah. He muttered something incoherent, and she was more than surprised and pleased at how flustered Sid was. Unable to refrain, she innocently suggested, "A little overzealous night at the inn with him?" He let out something akin to a growl, and Shara giggled into his chest. "You don't want to, I was just..." Sid shook his head. "Nah, the real story's more entertaining. I'll tell you tomorrow if you want." Shara looked into his gaze, tickled pink that he was willing to share that with her. This was uncharted territory in their marriage. She was both nervous and excited about it. Definitely. Maybe it shouldn't be a big deal, but there is something Sid and I never really talked about, she thought. This is good, no matter what. Nothing's going to change. It'll be hard to hear what he's gone through. But maybe I can appreciate more what he's done by hearing about it. She tapped her finger against his nose. "You sure you don't mind?" Sid blinked in mild confusion before shaking his head. "Why the hell should I? Never held anything against someone for being goddamn curious. It's private shit, but you're my wife. You have a right to know, and hell, some of them are funny as shit to talk about." Shara smiled and said, "People wonder why I married you." And that was Scars. It was by an author named Ritsu-San. This is on fanfiction.net, and if you liked how I did it, let me know if there's a story or a fanfiction just kind of section you want me to take a look at. Let me know. I would like to go into new areas to kind of see how things work. With this, not only tell me how I did with this, but give the author some love. I'm going to leave the link down below. Read the story. If you liked it, great. If not, tell him or her. Ritsu could be a male. Ritsu-san could be a male as well as a female, but you know what I mean. In any case, whoever the author is or is not, let them know. Give them some feedback so they can get better. If you enjoyed it, let them know, because I still write this stuff. I say I used to. But I still write this sort of thing, and it's always good when you just get feedback. So, thanks again, and you guys have a good day. Ta-ta!